The morning sun painted the sky in soft hues of orange and gold, yet Jonathan sat motionless by his window, staring at the empty road ahead. His life had become a monotonous cycle of endless work, fading dreams, and a nagging voice in his head that whispered, "You are running out of time." At 35, Jonathan had once envisioned a life filled with adventure, success, and meaning, but the reality was far from it. He worked in an uninspiring job, lived in a small apartment cluttered with remnants of forgotten aspirations, and felt suffocated by an invisible weight pressing against his chest. He had always told himself that one day he would break free. One day he would chase his dreams. But one day had turned into years of waiting for a moment that never arrived. Then, on an ordinary Wednesday evening, something extraordinary happened. As Jonathan walked home from work, a cold gust of wind sent chills down his spine. He pulled his coat tighter, and that's when he saw him, an old man with striking silver hair, standing at the street corner. There was something about his presence, something ethereal, almost divine. He held a single suitcase in his hand, worn out yet sturdy, much like the man himself. Jonathan hesitated, but felt an unexplainable urge to approach him. As he drew closer, the old man lifted his gaze, his piercing blue eyes locking onto Jonathan's with an intensity that made him freeze. "Pack your bag, son," the old man said, his voice carrying an eerie calmness. "Because very soon, someone with gray hair is about to change your life forever." A shiver ran down Jonathan's spine. I don't understand," he stammered. The old man simply smiled, a knowing look in his eyes. "You will. Just listen to the signs." Before Jonathan could say another word, the man turned and disappeared into the crowd, leaving only the faint echo of his words lingering in the air. That night, Jonathan lay awake, replaying the encounter over and over. Who was that man? What did he mean by "pack your bags"? And why did his words feel so heavy, so urgent? Days turned into weeks, but Jonathan couldn't shake the feeling that something was coming. Then the letter arrived, a single envelope, addressed to him in elegant handwriting. He hesitated before opening it, his hands trembling. Inside was a simple message. "Your time is now. The journey begins. Be ready." A ticket was enclosed, a one-way flight to a remote village he had never heard of. He looked at the ticket, then at his reflection in the mirror. For the first time in years, his heart raced with something he had almost forgotten: excitement. Could this be the moment he had been waiting for? The old man's words echoed in his mind. "Pack your bags." And for the first time, Jonathan did just that. The flight was long, and Jonathan spent most of it staring out the window, lost in thought. As the plane descended, he saw a vast green field stretching for miles, a stark contrast to the gray cityscape he had left behind. Upon landing, he stepped out into crisp, clean air, the scent of earth and rain filling his lungs. A small wooden sign at the airport entrance read, "Welcome to Eldermere." Jonathan clutched his suitcase tightly, scanning the unfamiliar surroundings. A man stood by an old Jeep, his silver hair glinting under the sunlight. Jonathan's heart pounded. It was the old man. "You made it," the man said with a nod. "Come, we have much to do." Without hesitation, Jonathan followed him, the weight of uncertainty replaced by the thrill of the unknown. His journey had just begun. The Jeep rumbled through winding dirt roads, past towering trees and fields of golden wheat, swaying in the wind. Jonathan stole glances at the old man, curiosity eating away at him. "Who are you?" Jonathan finally asked. "And why did you bring me here?" The man chuckled, his hand steady on the wheel. "You'll find out soon enough. For now, trust the process." The word sent another shiver down Jonathan's spine. Trust the process. He had spent years doubting every decision, afraid to take risks, and yet here he was, in the middle of nowhere, with nothing but blind faith leading the way. They arrived at a secluded cottage, nestled between the hills. Inside, the wooden walls were adorned with old maps, books, and photographs of distant lands. The old man gestured for Jonathan to sit by the fire. "Tell me, Jonathan," he said, pouring tea into 2 cups. "What is it that you truly seek?" Jonathan hesitated. I don't know anymore. I used to dream of adventure, of doing something meaningful. But somewhere along the way, I got lost. The old man nodded knowingly. Most people do. But you know the difference between those who stay lost and those who find their way. Jonathan shook his head. The willingness to start again, the man said. To take the leap, even when fear whispers it's too late. Jonathan stared into the fire, the flames dancing like the forgotten sparks of his dreams. Could it really be that simple? Was the only thing stopping himself? The old man stood, grabbing a dusty leather-bound book from a shelf. He handed it to Jonathan. This book holds the lessons of those who dare to start anew. Read it, and when you're ready, we'll begin your real journey. Jonathan took the book, the weight of it settling into his hands like a promise. That night, he read until the morning sun crept over the hills. And for the first time in years, he felt something stir deep within him, a hunger to live again. Days turned into weeks, and under the old man's guidance, Jonathan began to rebuild himself. He learned skills he never thought he needed. How to navigate by the stars, how to build with his hands, how to listen to the whispers of the wind. More importantly, he learned the art of letting go of doubt, fear, and the past that had chained him for so long. One evening, as they stood on a cliffside overlooking the valley, the old man spoke. Jonathan, you have one final task. Return to the world you left behind, and bring this knowledge to others. Inspire them to take their own journey. Jonathan's heart clenched. He had found peace here, but he understood the journey was never about escaping. It was about transformation. The day he left Eldermere, the old man handed him a single note. One day, you will meet someone like you, lost, uncertain. When you do, pass this on. Jonathan unfolded the note and read the familiar words. Pack your bags. Your time is now. With a knowing smile, he stepped onto the plane, ready to begin his true purpose.